So
Okay,
recording
I'm recording
now.
now. How about you? Excellent. Okay, so then one, two, three. Hi, everyone. Welcome to special presentation with Mike and Ethan. Or,
Alf will not be seen tonight.
Mike, would you agree that cartoons are a waste of time and paper?
100%. Absolutely. I'm an adult when I only care about adult things like business and stonks.
Yeah, and alcohol and cigarettes and firearms and
Now, yeah,
bombing people back to the Stone Age.
now you're speaking my language. I
None
love
of
adult
these
things.
silly, useless cartoons.
I can't think of anything more childish than watching cartoons.
Oh, if I see anyone over the age of, let's say, 6 watching a cartoon, I know that they're an unserious person.
Yeah, I like shake my head and I think like, when will you start thinking about matters of consequence?
Oh my God, you're not a man, you're a mushroom.
Oh wow, I can't believe you actually I should have known. I should have known.
Hungry reader. For those of you just joining us, we just did a very a kind of deep cut from Antoine de Saint-Exupéry's *The Little Prince*.
Yeah, wow. I am shocked that we're on that. Well, we're on the same wavelength. So
We really are.
I should have expected my platonic podcasting life partner to pick it up on this the Chewbacca Wookiee Life Day or whatever.
Oh, right. I forgot it was Life Day. Shit. I'm not wearing my Snuggie or anything.
Oh, you didn't get me anything for Life Day?
I got you a recording of a band from the 70s, but
Oh, that's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah.
I got you. I sold my hair to get you this comb.
oh, great! I sold my comb to get you this hair.
Oh, excellent. Actually, that works out really well. That works out perfectly, actually. Anyway, we're speaking of cartoons because we're once again looking at Saturday Supercade. Specifically, one of those. Actually, it's not Saturday Supercade. It's the wow, Saturday Supercade is coming. We're going to tell you about it. Special.
Yes. This is yet another special like the one we did last week that had the Dukes of Hazzard, which is very funny because it looks like this one actually preempted the Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, I mean, this one makes a little more sense, though,
A little more
thematically.
sense, but at the same time, it's it has a certain appeal all its own.
Yeah, like the last week we looked at one where it's like, what if Scott Baio opened a disco in Hazard County, Alabama, and was extorted by Boss Hogg, and it's like, and that's supposed to make you want to watch cartoons about video games. Oh, yeah, why not? It's fine. This week it's a reporter doing a story about cartoons, and interviewing a cartoonist. So it's kind of more linked to the actual thing that we are supposed to be being enticed to watch. So
Yes, it's at the same time it is more thematic and also more psychotic.
yeah, it is. It is definitely. It's very strange. It's a strange duck, I guess you could say. But we do have fewer celebrities in this one. We only have Ted
Yeah.
Knight, I think.
Yes, Ted Knight, from who I only know from Mystery Science Theater references to him, where he says, it all started a little radio station in Fresno, California, which is apparently what he always used to say on, was it Laverne and Shirley?
I think he was on the Mary Tyler Moore show, wasn't
Mary
he?
Tyler Moore, that's it, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure I've seen him in lots of stuff. He's got one of those voices where you're like, I know that voice, but yeah, I couldn't really place him. He's one of those guys you see a lot when you're a kid.
Yes.
But he plays.
Joyce DeWitt is in it.
Yes. Now, is she from anything? She's.
Was she the one that disappeared after Three's Company? Or am I thinking of someone else?
Oh, was she like one of the girls in Three's Company?
Let's look it up. Time for some of our patented on on-air searching. Yes, she played Janet Wood on Three's Company. So yeah.
So she's not the hot girl.
I think no. I think she's not the blonde one at any rate.
Right. I mean, I assume I'm gonna say this, like, it's not that she's not hot. She's a perfectly attractive woman, just like both of the women on Three's Company were perfectly attractive women.
Yes.
But I just assumed that, like, since she has short dark hair and the other one was like blonde, we're supposed to be like, oh, like the blonde is a hot one, right? And she's probably the smart one, right? That's how we're doing it.
Yeah, boy, Three's Company. You know, we were talking last week about shows that appeal to adults and don't appeal to children. You know, how do you explain to children, okay, the purpose of this show is that we're making fun of homophobia because John Ritter is pretending to be gay, but he's really not?
Yeah, it's very I never watched Three's Company as a kid. I knew that it existed, right? I knew it was a thing. And I think I'd seen the theme song and I knew that, like, oh yeah, like John Ritter is in it and the song come on knock on my door, you know, the song, right?
Yes.
And but like when someone explained to me after I was an adult, when I realized what the actual premise of the show was, it was like I was kind of like, what? That's what it was about? It was on television in what, the 70s?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
I thought gay people were invented in 1991.
Yeah, I was kind of like, wait, so this was this basically just, what is that show? Will and Grace? It's just Will and Grace.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, no, not Will and Grace. Actually, wasn't there another show? There was another show. I'm pretty sure that was not Will and Grace, which was about like some guy pretending to be gay. Because he was like,
maybe.
Let me do. I think I can. I'm gonna try and find this show and see if I'm remembering right. Because the only thing I remember about it is that it stars Lowell from Wings, who I believe is called Thomas Hayden Church in real life. Wow, that guy. He looks like if Johnny Knoxville and Ernest had a baby. He's just such a...
Is Johnny Knoxville attractive?
To me? Or in general?
I'm just saying because Jim Varney was very attractive when he wasn't Ernest.
You know, I'm going to say, yeah, Jim Varney could get it. It's incredible when you see him, like, out of Ernest. Just, like, it really does go to show that, like, you know, people always think that, like, you know, attraction is literally just, like, physical appearance. But no, Jim Varney had a vibe. Like, that, like, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but when you see him, it's like, oh my God, yeah, take me away. Johnny Knoxville actually... Yeah, I think Johnny Knoxville actually, I'm going to get flack for this. I do think he is attractive, but I think he's got a much more, like, he's got much more... It's an approachable energy.
Oh, is
to
it
him.
Ned and Stacy, the show you're thinking of?
Maybe that sounds right. Let me see. Ned and Stacy.
Oh, yeah.
What is the premise?
Ned needs a beard to get a promotion at the ad agency where he works.
Oh, so wait a minute. So he actually is gay, but he's pretending not to be gay.
Or no, he's not. Apparently he dates other women on the show. They're just pretending to be married.
Oh, okay. Wait a second. Okay, so that actually becomes exponentially stranger. That in the 90s they were, because if it was like he's a gay guy pretending to not be gay in a 90s sitcom, I'm like, okay, I get this. This reflects real life, you know, in the 90s. But it's weird that it's like, oh no, in order to get a promotion you have to be married? Like, what? In the 90s?
Were women still allowed to own property?
Yeah, what is this? No wonder this show went for 2 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. All right then.
So much shorter than you would think. And you know, we live in a world where Still the Beaver ran for 4 seasons.
Yeah. So. Wow. Okay. Now, Three's Company is also a little odd just because it kind of goes it's like in the 70s where it's like, oh yeah, you know, being straight, pretending to be gay. That thing that people did all the time in the 70s because it was so much easier to be gay. You know, it was a good thing to do, to pretend. You definitely wouldn't have any problems pretending to be gay.
Yeah. So no, he's No, they have a landlord who refuses to allow unmarried men and women to live together in the building. So the excuse to allow Jack Tripper to live in the building is that he pretends to be gay.
And well, again, I never watched the show, so I
Yeah.
can't say much about Three's Company other
All
than
I know is that there's, in every episode there's a big misunderstanding. And of course, there is the immortal scene in the movie Stay Tuned, where the John Ritter character finds himself warped into Three's Company, and the two women come out and say, "Where have you been?" And he shrieks in absolute horror and changes the channel again.
oh, I guess I just realized Suzanne Summers is the blonde. So
Yes.
So yeah, I assume she was, again, she's supposed to be the hot one, right? Because she's also got, not only is she blonde, her hair is long, which is television coding for the hot one. Let me see. I'm looking at Wikipedia. The synopsis is Janet and Chrissy. Okay, so Chris.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
After Three's Company, she has about 10 roles, 10 roles in individual TV episodes between 1978 and 2000. So Joyce DeWitt did not go as far as Suzanne Summers, unfortunately.
Oh, that's
but
unfortunate.
But she did do something called the BB Beagle Show, which I have seen, and someday we have to do for this show, because holy shit!
What is the BB Beagle Show?
Hanna-Barbera wanted their own Muppet show.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Hanna-Barbera does not normally do puppets. So they had to invent an entirely new cast of puppets for the BB Beagle Show. I have no idea who the puppet wranglers were, but you can tell that this is a show made by people who know nothing about puppetry.
How hard could it be? You just stick your hand.
Wiggle dolls around, right?
Yeah. I'm sure any rube could work a puppet. It's not like there's any sort of artistry to it. It's pretty easy, I bet. I'm gonna get a bunch of angry letters from puppet people now. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll have to do the BB Beagle Show.
Yes.
Now, luckily, even though she did not really appear in a lot of, even though she did not have a long and storied career, unfortunately, she did appear in this Saturday morning thing. Yes. with Ted Knight. She plays the reporter. And basically, Ted Knight is a cartoonist who makes cartoons. And she has been assigned to do a story on him and the concept of cartooning for a paper.
And it's a hit piece. That's the fun part. The title of the article she's writing is "Cartooning: A Waste of Time and Paper."
I do like how much she hates cartooning. It's very funny, actually.
All right. I mean, have you ever met anyone who like hates cartoons?
No, I can't say that I have. I've never met anyone who's like, it's a very Scrooge type thing where she's just like,
it really is. Yeah, it really does come across as being like, and call off Christmas.
Yeah, it is. That's just very funny that like the paper was like, oh yeah. She's like, I'm gonna do a story about like how cartooning sucks, and the newspaper's like, that sounds great. Roll it. Actually, I think a newspaper would do that because, of course, bad news sells. People love that sort of thing. That's what news is nowadays. It's all hit pieces on completely innocuous stuff. Just discourse.
I should submit that as a concept to Polygon. I bet they'd love it.
Oh yeah. Oh man, are they still around? Is Polygon still a thing?
Polygon's still around.
Wow.
A lot of people from the Onion AV Club moved there.
Oh wow!
I think there's more talent there than there used to be.
I know very little about anything because I'm very stupid. But like, I mostly just associate Polygon with like, oh, I remember wasn't everyone mad at them during Gamergate? Do you remember that?
I think so. Yeah,
It was like
everyone was mad at everybody during Gamergate. It was really hard to tell who were the good guys.
Yeah.
Apart from just like, most of the time, if it was a woman, she was probably the good guy. But there were some examples otherwise.
Yeah. Boy, what a mess that was. That whole thing, and it went on. How long did it go on for? It's weird nowadays. We're living in the. It happened like 15 years ago. So kids nowadays, they weren't even born when Gamergate was a thing. And you have to explain to them like, oh, this current reality that we're living in. Yeah. Well, you have to understand that like it all happened because like a bunch of guys got really mad that some woman made a video game about depression.
Yes.
Like that's why Donald Trump is bombing Iran now. It's what a world. Well,
how do you explain to someone, that's like trying to explain water to fish at this point.
Yeah. It's just, that this is the world we live in,
Whoa.
Yeah. What are you going to do? It's a land of confusion. But anyway, Polygon was involved in that, I think. As for reasons I forget, people were mad at them, or maybe they were mad at someone. The main thing
I really mad at Kotaku. I remember.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. Boy, it's funny. Like we lived through it, but like it was all so stupid that like it's hard to remember exactly what happened. It just went on and on. And I remember that like it was about ethics and video game journalism, and.
And they created their mascot Vivian James, and I wondered if that had some connection to Olivia James of Nancy, but I don't think so.
I think it was literally because Vivian James sounds a little bit like video games.
Yes.
Which is, boy. I mean, I guess that might not be the stupidest part of the whole debacle. I mean, it was very stupid because I remember their thing was like we drew a like an anime girl to personify this debacle that's happening. Like she is the anthropomorphic personification of like a million angry online guys who are mad about Depression Quest. And we've like coalesced all that rage into making this anime girl. Like it's like a tulpa, I guess. And then they would draw pictures of her saying like, well, I like video games and Zoe Quinn is bad and stuff like that. And then they'd say like, see, this fictional girl that we made agrees with us. And it's like, that's not how it works. But actually, I guess now that it is kind of how it works because everyone's just like that now. Everyone's like, hey, the AI said this is good. Okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would have agreed with the sentiment that I want shorter video games with worse graphics that cost more, and I'm not kidding. If Sonic hadn't said it.
I think, you know what? I agree with that. And I'll also go one step further and say, I want fewer video games. In fact, so many fewer that they're none. No more of them. I am against video games. I have someone, my good friend, Five the Hard Way of Sister Pot. Yes. I don't know if she's using a name anymore. I guess I should just use her name because she's going by her name now. Jennifer of Have You Seen This?
I did not realize she was Five the Hard Way.
Oh yeah. Same person. I just outed her, so hopefully she doesn't mind.
Manana.
She was Manana. Yes. Oh, talking about the ancient memes now. She was Manana, and she gave me like a little pin that I have on my backpack that just says Video Spielkultur 9 Danke, that apparently she got from some sort of German anti-video game organization. I don't know anything about it. I just was so tickled by the fact that such a thing exists that I'm like, that's right. So I've got that now.
Yeah, there's something very shit. What's her name? Annie Hatchett about it.
Yes. Oh man, it's right. I'm just like Annie Hatchett, except good. because like I'm opposed to something that like we should get rid of. Not like alcohol, which is the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. Instead, we should get rid of video games.
I think I got the name wrong. Molly Hatchet.
Molly Hatchet. The Hatchet sisters. They're all good. I think, like I got in trouble just recently for being like, yeah, video games are bad. All the people on the internet got mad at me for it. You know what though? I stand by that. I think that video games are for children, not adults. I like adult things.
As previously stated. Yes.
As previously stated. But you know who surprisingly kind of likes video games?
Joyce DeWitt.
Yeah, our intrepid reporter. She is doing her Molly Hatchet piece on Ted Knight, the cartoonist, and she's going on about how much she hates video games. Not video games. She loves video games. No, she hates cartoons. But when Ted Knight reveals that some of these cartoons are based on video games, she's like, "Oh, I like those video games. I recognize them." And he's a little confused by that.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean, the thing we haven't really established, she has a really bad attitude toward this, but he's even worse, honestly. She greets him with you must be the cartoonist, and he says, well, one of us is, and I don't think it's you.
Yeah, he's a wacky funster who's really trying too hard.
Yeah, I really expected to go like, hey, look, there's a quarter behind your ear.
Yeah. Well, here, smell my flower in my lapel. Oh.
I'll go ahead and pull my finger.
Whackety schmackety doo. Yeah, he's a real piece of work, this cartoonist. He does draw silly pictures for a living. So
yes. He's been drawing silly pictures for 30 years now, and he looks a lot older than, say, 60. But
yeah,
well, maybe not. When did you start drawing, man? That seems like he started late in life. But
he had a late in life career change. Before that, he was an astrophysicist. But
yeah. And then he picked up that matchbook that says "Draw Me" and was like, "Oh."
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, Tippy." So he's also.
They had this ongoing argument where she's like, well, I watched some of these cartoons and they were silly and dumb. And he says, did you understand them? And she says, of course I understood them. They're cartoons. I was like, those are two separate sentences.
Yeah. Well, it's like kids are supposed to be like, boo, you don't understand. Cartoons actually are pretty, they actually have they're pretty deep if you think about it. Yes. Which it is kind of funny because like this is from what, like 1982 or something.
84 actually, believe it or not.
So 84. So at this time, cartoons were still widely understood as being for kids. Yes. Like a Wendy's kids meal. It was not until I think into the 90s when we really started getting that a generation that had been raised on cartoons are now making them, and they were doing that thing where they're like, we're going to make cartoons that like adults can enjoy as well. And you get it
was the 1-2 punch of Roger Rabbit and The Simpsons.
Yes. You start getting things like, Animaniacs or Dexter's Lab, things that have little bits for adults in them. So, But I guess cartoons have always had that, but like
it's just that now you're an adult and you can enjoy them.
Yeah, I feel like it got worse in the 90s. It got like or better depending on your point of view. There was a lot more like, oh, I get it. This is for adults can enjoy these too. But like in the 80s, it was there was a little more hidden. Though there were a lot of I do remember like a lot of some really good little bits for adults in like the Real Ghostbusters and Dinosaurs. Yeah. And
I mean, the original theatrical cartoons, those were not made with kids in mind necessarily.
True.
I mean, you watch old Bugs Bunny cartoons and they're making references to things like Wendell Willkie.
Oh yeah. And of course, we also know that cartoons ain't for kids because of Fritz the Cat.
Oh yeah.
And
it's true that kids, instinctively take to cartoons in a, they understand them more, on a more, on a, more. Uh, I don't know what word I'm looking for here, but adults may be like, "What's going on? Who's he?" And kids are able to follow the plot a lot better in animation.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like that is an interesting. That is definitely an interesting phenomenon that I remember. I feel like it is a thing where like adults are a lot of adults just do that thing where they are intentionally not understanding cartoons because they think it's
Yeah,
for kids. They're like, "Oh, this is so stupid. It's for kids. I'm going to pretend I don't understand it,
yeah,
so that my kids will be embarrassed for liking this juvenile stuff." Which is funny because
yeah.
it's like, why are you trying to? It's like, are you smarter than a third grader? It's like, oh, I'm so much more mature than these literal children. It's like whatever.
who I claim to love.
Yeah, parents just do that thing. I remember, like, when I was a kid, whenever I watched cartoons, like, my grandmother would come into the room and she'd look at it and she'd be like, such ugly pictures. Like, no matter what was on the screen, that was a reaction. Oh, these such ugly pictures. She'd always tell me, you could do so much better than that. And it's like, thank you for believing in me, but I'm also a literal child, so I can't make a cartoon. Um, but yeah. Anyway,
That'd be that you missed your chance. You should have been like, "Oh, really? Hey, can we go to the art store? You could buy me a pack of animation cells."
I mean, yeah, I guess I should have. I never thought about it, but I never went into the animation business myself. I understand I understand it's quite the slog from what
Yeah,
I.
it's pretty slow, but we get a good look at it through this special. Actually, that's what it's a good look at what the animation process was like in 1984.
Yeah. So yeah, this is not digital animation. This is old school.
So even though they have what looks like a screaming fight in the lobby, the cartoonist leads Joyce DeWitt into this room where everyone's making a cartoon in the same room. It seems a little small, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like this. I don't feel like they really captured the what it's actually like to make cartoons. First of
Yeah.
all, I mean, they don't say like, yeah, then we send it all to Korea. It's like, no, these are all animated right here in the good old US of A. It's like, um, I
And then we cut to given the she's reading the scripts for them, and I grew up in the era of Ren and Stimpy, and they didn't do scripts on Ren and Stimpy. They said they did outlines, and then they let the actual storyboard artist write the script as part of the storyboard.
that explains a lot.
Yes, because the policy there was if you can't draw it, you're not allowed to write it.
Um, well, yeah, definitely there is a surreal quality to Ren and Stimpy that
Yes.
really that scans.
Uh huh.
Um,
And that kind of thing has come up before. I remember reading about the script for the Batman the Animated Series movie, Mask of the Phantasm,
mhm.
and they said something like, "Okay, oh, Bruce Wayne discovers what's going to be the Batcave when he moves a rock, and then a huge cloud of bats flies out, and the animation director pointed at that and said, "That will be one bat."
Oh, just one bat.
Yeah. It's like we
Oh,
don't have the budget for that many bats for such a shot.
wow. Sounds like someone's just being lazy.
Sorry for blowing my nose. I'm getting over the flu to do this show.
Oh, no worries. The listeners will deal with it.
Yes. Sorry for anyone with misophonia about nose blowing.
Yeah, well, what you gonna do?
Yep.
All right,
You've heard
so
us, tapping on our keyboards and fiddling with stuff, eating, chewing loudly into the microphone.
Oh, I hate that. That's the worst. But okay, so this reporter.
It's a script for Donkey Kong.
Oh, that's right, and she really likes Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Now
She gets really excited about Donkey Kong.
Now, should we talk a little about Donkey Kong or?
Yeah, we mentioned Donkey Kong previously because that was part of the first season of Saturday Supercade. This is another season with the first voice of Mario, Peter Cullen, and the first voice of Donkey Kong, Soupy Sales, who I don't remember what Soupy Sales did besides the voice of Donkey Kong, to be honest.
I believe Soupy Sales, he was like kind of a song and dance man on the television back in the old days. And the thing that I mostly know him for is the urban legend that he told kids to like steal money out of their parents' wallets and send it to him. Which like he was like, hey kids, just get that green paper out of your parents' wallet, send it to me, Soupy Sales. And so and apparently it happened and he got suspended over it. But if you actually look it up, that never happened. That was actually never a thing that happened. It's an urban legend. Soupy Sales apparently did not actually tell kids to steal their parents' money and did not get money for that way and did not get suspended over it. Yes. So anyway, other than that, like I mostly know him for the name Soupy Sales.
Yep. I remember thinking it was really funny that when the movie Juno came out and she refers to one character as Soupy Sales because their house always smells like beef soup. And people were like, how would a 17-year-old in 2007 know about Soupy Sales? It's like, hey, Wikipedia is a thing. Mystery Science Theater is a thing. Teenagers are smarter than you think. I'm sorry, it's not that difficult.
Yeah. I mean, also, like, she's not actually it's not really a reference to anything that Soupy Sales was known for. She's mostly making a reference to soup and the fact that his name sounds like that. So it's kind of you could almost imagine her just being like, oh, you smell like soup, Soupy. Well, Sales, that's a name that's a sound, starts with an S, and she could just be just making it up in the same way that if you went to someone like whose house smelled like hamburgers, you'd be like, that's Hamburger Jones, or something. But
old hamburger helper himself.
Yeah, it's like that glove. The glove who's named Hamburger Helper? I don't know.
I have no idea what the glove's name is.
I don't know if the glove has a name.
It's like how the Honey Nut Cheerios bee didn't get a name until the 90s.
What's his name?
Buzz.
Oh, that makes sense. I just found out...
originally it was Buzz Bee as one word, and then now it's just Buzz.
Okay. Yeah, that's better. Well, that's kind of like when I found out that the frog for Honey Smacks is apparently named Diggum.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I was like, oh, okay. Whatever. Not the best of cereal mascots, in my opinion.
Sonny
I'm not
the Cuckoo Bird, that's his name, but the Trix Rabbit still has no official name.
Oh.
It's just the rabbit.
Huh. Okay. The silly rabbit.
Yes.
Well, are there any other cereal mascots that don't have names? I think most of them have names.
Let's see.
Like, what about the except maybe not the rooster on Cornflakes? I don't think that guy's got it.
Cornelius Rooster.
You're kidding me. Does he actually? He's named Cornelius?
Yeah, they used to do these ads where, he'd be struggling to wake up and it'd be like, Kellogg's Cornflakes presents Cornelius Rooster.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. I stand corrected. Okay, well, let me think. What about... Oh, gosh. Well, there's... most of them, have names, I guess, the cookie crook and the cookie cop technically didn't have names, I don't think.
I think there was like a Christmas commercial where we saw them with matching stockings that both said CC on them.
Oh, okay. I guess maybe we can assume those are their names, but I always assumed those were titles, But it doesn't matter. They're not around anymore.
No.
Neither is that dog.
They both went to prison, and then the dog went feral.
Yeah, but I think the dog's not even there anymore. Now it's a wolf. No. The dog fought.
Like I said, he went feral.
Yeah. Oh shit! Oh wow. Okay. Well, let's
Call
see.
of the Wild.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. So I don't remember why we're talking about cereal mascots. Oh, Donkey Kong. That's why. Donkey Kong. Yes.
He had a cereal.
So he does have a. Does he have a cereal?
Yeah, it was little crunchy corn barrels.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that fits. So Donkey Kong, I don't think we mentioned Donkey Kong last week. We didn't really go into details about the cartoon itself. It is a cartoon where Mario has to catch Donkey Kong. Um,
Yeah, because he owns Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong is part of his circus.
yeah, and Donkey Kong, I guess. So Mario and Pauline are just chasing Donkey Kong around.
Yes. So this is really weird to see, knowing that now there's an upcoming game where Donkey Kong and Pauline team up together, and Pauline is a 13-year-old girl. So,
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's definitely a very different vibe.
yep. I mean, video games have no continuity. That's actually one of the better things about them.
Yeah, I think everyone should take a page from that because
Yes.
continuity is people care about continuity way too much these
They
days.
really do, yeah. Now, I remember. I always think of David Willis of Short Packed and Dumbing of Age, talking about how his belief as a Christian when he was younger, was this kind of Star Trek wiki idea of like we got to make everything in the Bible make sense. It's got to all fit together, or else none of it does. And later he realized that he was just justifying to himself that none of it made sense to him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the thing that everyone does nowadays because now everyone is so obsessed with lore. It's
Yeah,
like, oh, everything's got a. We need to make
everything's got a
everything.
wiki. Yep.
Yeah, everything got a wiki. Everyone, I just like in the old days when they made TV shows and they were like, well, you watch it for half an hour and then you forget it, so it doesn't matter that like they're contradictory origin stories for everything. But
Yeah, there should be.
nowadays,
Yeah, I think we should return to anthology shows. Honestly.
oh yeah, 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 those were good. I like those. Well, anyway, so Mario is trying to catch Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong yells "Donkey Kong" a lot.
Yep. Yeah, he
Uh,
just yells his own name for the most part, but sometimes he makes kind of weird noises that I wasn't expecting. There's that scene where he hurls a barrel down to knock Mario up on a seesaw, and knock Mario up. Oh, that's a different show already. But no, he flings Mario into the air, and as Mario is coming toward him, he goes, "Ah, ah, 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 ah." It's like, is that supposed to be a gorilla noise, or they just catch Soupy Sales coughing up a hairball?
oh yeah, gorillas always make that noise, I guess. I mean, it's just a noise.
I mean, if you ask people what noise does a gorilla make, they're going to be like, ooga booga?
Well, I always thought gorillas. Yeah, I don't know what noise gorillas make.
I remember one person thinking that brachiating was the noise that gorillas made. That was funny.
Oh, what is brachiating?
Oh, it's when you swing by your arms.
Oh, that's really okay.
Yes,
I
it's something that all of us primates are adapted to do, even us.
Wow. Okay, I mostly remember. I was like, so they don't just do that in Tarzan movies,
Uh-huh.
huh? Well, good. So is there anything about like the Donkey Kong show that we should mention? I,
Um, Not really, apart from that uh, okay, this is kind of funny. So here's a funny little connection. Peter Cullen, aka Optimus Prime, was the first voice of Mario.
mm-hmm.
This was the first appearance, of Donkey Kong
Yeah.
on TV. The second appearance of Donkey Kong on TV was on Captain N, the Game Master, where he was voiced by Gary Chalk, who later became the voice of Optimus Primal,
Huh.
who was also a gorilla. So there's a weird little hopscotch there.
Okay, so it's very gorilla centric.
Yes, the gorilla your dreams, one might say.
Man, I don't remember. We watched an episode. I think we watched an episode of Donkey Kong, but I do not remember a thing about it at this point.
It was the swamp episode. A lot of these were swamp themed.
Oh yeah. What was? Oh, there was a swamp. I do not remember that
Yeah, there
either.
was a swamp and a character that was kind of pretty clearly a ripoff of Boss Hogg, and they were trying to get Donkey Kong to steal something from a museum.
Oh, okay. Well, you know,
Yeah, a bit of an overly complicated plot, but
yeah,
especially for something as formulaic as Donkey Kong.
yeah. I mean, I feel like that's very similar to the Donkey Kong Jr. plot that we saw.
Oh yeah, which had almost the exact same thing happening, except it was a guy with a trained bear.
Yeah, and it wasn't in a swamp; it was in a forest. But
Yes.
um, but yeah, Donkey Kong Jr. is well. I guess we'll get to Donkey Kong Jr.
Actually, they don't talk about Donkey Kong Jr. on this one because by this time Donkey Kong Jr. had been canceled.
Oh, nobody liked Donkey Kong Jr. I wonder
Nobody liked
why.
Donkey Kong Jr. They replaced Donkey Kong Jr. with Kangaroo.
Boy, that went well.
Yeah. You kids love Kangaroo, right? That beloved video game series that went on for one game.
Yeah. Now, did we actually go into detail about Kangaroo last week? I do not remember.
I don't think we did, but I did. I think we talked about how the. I don't know. This is difficult because we have this whole episode where we talked about this stuff for 2 hours, and then it ended up getting deleted, and we have to redo it. Which, did we already talk about this or not? Help!
I don't think we did. I don't think we talked about Kangaroo
Okay.
because
Okay, let's go into this, and if we're repeating ourselves, tough.
yeah, what are you gonna do about it? It's like, oh, I'm gonna cancel my subscription. Joke's on you. It's a free podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kangaroo. So it's a video game which I remember in arcades. I remember seeing Kangaroo in arcades. It was, and I was under the impression at the time that it was fairly big. Like not Pac-Man big, not even Qbert big, but like top 10 video games.
Really?
Yeah,
I
like
don't remember it at all.
yeah, I don't think anyone else does either. So I don't know. Maybe my impression was incorrect, but apparently the people at Hanna-Barbera also had that impression because they made a Kangaroo cartoon series. And the concept for the show or the video game is you play KO Katie, a boxing kangaroo, and you have
Great
to rest. It's a great name, and you have to rescue your Joey from some monkeys.
Joey.
And why do I feel like did Kangaroo have like a bunch of like animated like bear tooth traps that were like chomping
No,
around?
that's Donkey Kong Jr.
Oh, that's Donkey Kong Jr. Never mind then. I'm conflating
Those guys
them.
are called Snap Jaws.
Oh, okay. So this is just monkeys, nothing else. I think in Kangaroo, and it's one of those. It's a very early video game, so it's the one where it's like a single screen and you're always bouncing around on that one screen, like Mario
They
Brothers.
have not yet invented scrolling.
Yes. So I don't know much about the gameplay. But none of those first generation ones before pre-scrolling were really that great. You played it for the novelty because that's all you had. But anyway, they made a Kangaroo series. It takes place at a zoo. They decided that nobody wants to watch a cartoon series about a mom, so now the Joey is the main character. And
I was kind of offended by that. It's like, come on, the idea that not only that she's a mother, but a single mother.
Yes.
You hang a lot of meat on that premise.
They really could. But like they were cowards. So instead, Joey is the main character, and it feels like basically KO Katie is kind of the Deus Ex Machina, who at the end of the episode he calls her and she comes and like beats up the monkeys for him. And
that's great. It's like, hey, if you get into trouble, call your mom.
I mean, I guess it's a good thing to teach kids.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Depends on the mom.
I mean, that's true. So this one, we watched an episode of this where there's a new addition to the zoo. There's an elephant at the zoo.
There's a baby elephant, and also I like that they added a little diversity and that the zookeeper is a black guy.
Yeah, though I feel like that was probably a late in production thing because Well, I feel like when I look at him, and I don't know how to say this in a way that maybe this is not
You
kosher.
feel like he was designed as a white guy but colored as a black guy?
Yes. His features look very white.
Mm.
He in the sense. Well, I'll say this. I lived in Africa for a few years.
That's true.
Yes, this is canon. This is true. I did live in Africa, in Ghana, and when I was there, there was a nickname that Ghanaians used for white people, or maybe you would call it a slur. I don't know. It was what they called white people, and they called them the big noses. Or I should say, they called us the big noses. Not to my face. I was never called this, but I was informed this was standard. When you're talking about white people, the most noticeable thing about white people is they've got huge noses, I guess, compared to black people. Or as a white person at the time, I was very confused by this. I was like, do we? I never really noticed that.
Gave me a nose complex.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's more just like, it's like, well, they tend to be pointier, I guess. Yeah.
Maybe there were more Roman noses among white people?
Yeah, I guess so. But in any case, what I'm saying is this particular zookeeper character has a big nose. Like it looks like a white nose is what I'm saying. But I still think, I mean, at least they tried. They didn't have to color him black at all. In fact, a cartoon made in 1984, I wouldn't expect any black characters at all. Were there any black characters in cartoons in 1984? I don't know. I don't know. Had they invented black people
Mr.
yet?
T?
Mr. T was around that time because I do remember watching him on TV, the Mr. T cartoon when I was in kindergarten, which would have been around that time. So yeah, okay. So Mr. T, the Mr. T show. Wait, of course I forgot there were black people in cartoons because that was when we had Fat Albert. So that was another black one, a black cartoon. And what else we had? I believe also a cartoon with some black people in it that is not aged well. Rickety Rocket.
Ooh, yeah.
Very poorly aged. And I'm sure there are plenty more that I am forgetting because I am ignorant.
And there was Pryor's Place, but that's not a cartoon.
Oh boy, can we talk about Pryor's Place or should we wait?
Pryor's Place.
Oh my God, Pryor's Place. So this is a show that did you ever watch Pryor's Place? Do you know about this show?
No, I've never seen this before.
I watched this as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, I remember this. It was a show that I saw when I was, around kindergarten age. They showed it on AFN, Armed Forces Television in Stuttgart, Germany. I vaguely remembered it, and for years I just did not know the name of it. I had very fuzzy memories of it. So that it really was, I don't think I even knew what it was until I saw it on Saturday, this special. And then suddenly I was like, oh shit, that's what it was. But it is, I guess you would call this, well, Ethan, your only exposure to Pryor's Place is this commercial, right?
Yes, my only prior exposure.
All right, so from this commercial, what do you think Pryor's Place is?
It looks like a Sesame Street clone.
That is a good guess. I would say that it is. There's a lot of Sesame Street influence in this. It was
Sesame Street, but with Ray Parker Jr. and Richard Pryor putting on costumes.
Well, it is. So basically, what it was is Richard Pryor would introduce the show. I think they were kind of. I think there was a little bit of Fat Albert, Bill Cosby inspiration going on here because Richard Pryor would basically introduce the show, and he was telling stories about himself as a child, and then the bulk of the show would be this child who played child Richard Pryor having adventures. Very very often. I remember one where he was trying to ask this girl out, but he was too shy to, and so there was a little bit of Wonder Years kind of vibe going on, I guess. And
kind of an early version of Life with Louie.
Yes. And they would periodically throughout the episode suddenly like baby Pryor would be doing something, and then the camera would pan over to the window of the bakery where all the foods, the cakes and the breads and everything were like puppets, and they would basically do a Greek chorus kind of commentary on what was happening. And that was like a recurring bit that they had. And there was another recurring bit where there was this husband and wife rat that lived in the sewer, like, and the husband wore like a wife beater, and the wife had like a moo with like curlers in her hair, and they would kind of like comment on stuff too, or like it was almost kind of like like Out of Control. They would have little skits going on that
I was thinking of Pee-wee's Playhouse, but yeah, that too.
Yeah. So it wasn't quite as it wasn't as frenetic as Pee-wee's Playhouse, where everything was very disjointed. Like this was in a previous generation where they were actually trying to make things cohesive. But it was like, I remember actually like really liking it as a kid. Though now my I don't remember anything about it. I think I was mostly just like, I like that there's puppets in it, but I had no clue that was Richard Pryor. Even like, because my memories were literally just like, there's puppets in it. There's like food puppets. There's
You didn't remember the actual people at all.
No. I mean, as soon as I saw this ad, a lot came back to me, and I was like, of course, I remember. It was like, there was Richard Pryor, because I should say, I remember a black guy with a mustache. And who else would it be but Richard Pryor? He was the only black man with a mustache in 1984. So yeah, that all came
Gordon,
back.
but you'd remember the bald head.
Yeah, I would remember if he was bald. Like, so yeah, it was definitely not Gordon. So I do remember. So yeah, but for years I kind of had this vague sense that it was somehow associated with that one episode of The Cosby Show where the Muppets show up.
Oh yeah, and his refrigerator is full of the talking food.
Yes. But I don't think the Muppets or Jim Henson were involved with Pryor's Place.
No, they were not. No.
Okay.
They had a prior commitment.
Well, yes. So Pryor's Place, I don't know actually if you can find episodes of it anywhere.
I don't know if it's necessarily lost media, but it's certainly not something that you can find easily.
Yeah.
Or that you would even hear about easily.
Yeah, which is kind of funny when you consider what a big deal Richard Pryor was,
Yeah.
And it's also kind of weird that they were like, this is another one of those weird things, kind of like, when they were put George Carlin on Shining Time Station, where it's like, really? That guy? Like Richard Pryor on a kid's show? Okay. I mean, I guess.
I do remember wanting to rent a Richard Pryor movie as a kid, and Mom said, no, he says a lot of bad words. So I guess he was trying to reinvent himself for the public.
I guess.
For the younger generation. Maybe because, did you know that the week that he accidentally set himself on fire, he was supposed to be on the Muppet Show that week?
Why did he accidentally set himself on... What happened that he set himself on fire?
He was doing heroin.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, yeah, as you do. Wait, was he doing what, do you do the spoon with the
something to that effect, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, you gotta be careful when you're doing that.
You do, yeah.
Man, I guess that's the problem with being on heroin, is you stop being careful,
Some sources say that late in the evening of June 9th, 1980, Pryor poured 151 proof rum all over himself and set himself on fire. Other sources, including the LA police, say that what burned him that night was an explosion that happened while he was freebasing cocaine. It wasn't heroin. It was one of two terrible other things.
Wait, so he either deliberately set himself on fire or was doing cocaine?
Yeah. How do you set yourself on fire while doing cocaine?
Yeah, I
guess that's what freebasing is. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know what freebasing is. I just assumed with cocaine you just like snort it, don't you?
No. But apparently, while he was still on fire, he ran down Parthenia Street from his Los Angeles home until he was subdued by police. Jeez.
Damn.
His daughter stated the incident happened as a result of drug-induced psychosis.
Wow. Okay. Maybe it's better. Man, well, imagine if you had drug-induced psychosis and you were on the Muppet Show.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe it was good that he wasn't there.
Yeah. Well, he did. He did Pryor's Place instead, and there are Muppets, or I should say, they're puppets.
Yes,
I don't.
these are the Croft puppets again.
Oh yeah, multiple Croft puppets, not a single one
Yes,
this time. It's not the Amish guy.
not just the one Waylon Jennings one.
Yes, I remember the puppets being fairly good, but like the Crofts, I mean, they had they had a look which doesn't particularly, they don't look as finished as Muppets, but I think that was the intention. They were kind of going for that, like, oh yeah, a bunch of like, hippies on a commune made these things out of scrap materials.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Sid and Marty Krofft sure did a lot of stuff. I would say Pryor's Place better than Lidsville. Not as good as Land of the Lost.
Land of the Lost 70s or Land of the Lost 90s?
Oh, 70s. I don't.
Okay.
We don't speak of the 90s version.
Okay.
I don't, at least. But poo. I denigrate that one. I am no fan of the 90s Land of the Lost. It's a Land of the Lost come lately.
Well, it turns out that Land of the Lost is what replaced Pryor's Place when it was canceled.
Oh, well, you know what? I was a huge fan of Land of the Lost when I was a kid, which they also showed on AFN Stuttgart. So I guess I watched that after Pryor's Place got canceled, and while I did really enjoy Pryor's Place, it did not have dinosaurs, which Land of the Lost did. So I have to say, this was, if you put a gun to my head, I'd be like Land of the Lost any day of the week. Sorry, Richard Pryor. Anyway, poor guy. He was so upset that he went and freebase cocaine until he had drug-induced psychosis. But anyway, yeah, I do remember it being an entertaining show. I don't know if it was educational. I think I thought it was supposed to be because it had puppets.
Yeah, kids assume that if there's puppets, they're trying to educate you. But it's nice when the puppets just want to entertain you too.
Yeah. So Pryor's Place, part of Saturday Morning Supercade.
Well, Saturday morning, not really part of Saturday Morning Supercade, unless there was some Richard Pryor arcade game I wasn't aware of.
Oh, yeah, I don't think they were doing celebrity tie-ins for video games till much later. So, yeah, I don't think so. No one was getting up.
Namco presents See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
Oh, man. I remember that movie. Boy, Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder sure made a lot of movies together.
Yeah, they were. I can only assume they were close friends.
I mean, I guess so. Because it was See No Evil, Hear No Evil, Stir Crazy, Another You. I'm sure they did more. I don't know. It seems like they did a bunch, but
yeah.
Anyway, so what else have we got in this thing? This cartoonist trying to teach this pissy reporter about cartoons.
Yes. Well, let's see. The other show that was canceled is Frogger, and Frogger has been replaced with Space Ace.
All right, so let's talk about these guys, because we did not talk about Frogger. So even though it's canceled, I think we need to talk about Frogger.
We should talk about Frogger. Okay.
Let's talk about Frogger.
So, Frogger. So, okay, the game Frogger, it's about crossing a road, avoiding being run over by trucks, and getting over, jumping over lily pads and turtlebacks to get your way home to the swamp.
Yes.
They interpreted this for TV as Scooby-Doo, but with animals. Yeah.
Now, if I were to make a Frogger cartoon, I feel like it probably should be somehow associated with racing. The frogs would drive.
Position.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. They would. That's good. They should be. The frogs should be driving cars. It should be.
Yes.
You could call them the road frogs or something.
Yeah.
But instead
or the street frogs. But that's
yeah. There you go. No one's done that one before. See, we had some good. Well, we had some good ideas for cartoons, because I think last week we also said kangaroo would be better if it was done as like one of those arena type competition shows where it's like KO Katie fighting a different match every week, and like she's,
Yeah,
it's almost like Mike
fighting other
Tyson's
zoo animals.
punch
Yeah.
out. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But they didn't do that. They just had her fighting those monkeys. Hey, this is Mike, and just letting you know that we talked so much about Saturday's The Place and the waste of time and energy that is cartooning that we are breaking this into 2 episodes. So join us next week for the conclusion of our discussion of Saturday's The Place.